Hello YouTube, The Edge here. We are going to be doing a review today. And we have on the table the Civivi Elementum button lock. This is a Civivi Elementum II. So this is an upgrade to the original Elementum. And they've included the button lock on this one. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. So right off the start, the blade length, it is 2.96 inches. Open, it is 7.06 inches. And closed, it is 4.11 inches. The steel on this, it is the Nitro V, which Civivi uses on a lot of their knives. And it seems to be a good steel. I haven't had any issues with it. And it seems to be holding an edge for quite a while. So far I'm happy with it. And you've got the drop point blade. The weight of this, it is 3.12 ounces. So, you know, not a bad weight on the knife. And the handle on this, it is a G10 and it is textured for grip purposes. So, I don't know, you can't really see that. No, my camera's not going to show it up. But it does have texturing on there for grip. The pocket clip on this, it is right hand only. So right hand, tip up, but it is a deep carry. So sorry lefties, you have to carry this in your right hand pocket. But it also has the button lock on it, which I am very happy about. And I like the button lock. I find the button lock to be an easy locking system to work with for me. And if you're left-handed, it's easy enough to work with your index finger instead of your thumb. So yeah, it works both ways, which is nice. And it is a flipper tab opening. And the flipper tab, I like the smaller flipper tabs that they have on these because you barely notice them when you have them in your pocket. Or you can flick it open with the button lock. I don't do that much because I'm just not versed in it, so I prefer the flipper tab. It works just fine for me. We do have jimping on the back of it to give you a little bit of grip, and I am a fan of jimping also. So this knife has got a couple positives for me with the jimping and the button lock. It does have a lanyard hole for those who like to attach lanyards at the back there. And it does have the cage ceramic ball bearings in the pivot, which make the pivot quite smooth and works really well. I do put pivot lubrication on my knives when I get them, but out of the box, this thing worked no problems. Yeah, it worked really good. And it does have kind of a choil on it. I'd say it's more of a sharpening choil than an actual finger choil, but you can put your finger there if you're careful. So yeah, it does have a little bit, but it's more of a sharpening choil. So be cautious if you're going to use that in your grips. The knife, it is centered. You probably can't see that with my camera, but the blade, it is centered, not censored. And it doesn't have up and down movement, but it has, well, no, I was going to say slight side to side. I don't know if it's arguable whether or not it has movement side to side, but it's very minute if you do find that there is some movement in your knife. So I've done the Elementum, the original Elementum before. And this knife, it is basically the same thing. They've just added the button lock to it, and it is slightly bigger. Very narrow margin, but it is, I believe it's in the handle. It's a little bit longer, and it is definitely wider because they had to allow for the button lock. So it is slightly wider as well. But if you are familiar with the original Elementum, to me this is just an upgrade I prefer the button lock to the liner lock. And I think the pivot maybe it's just this knife, the pivot might be slightly smoother than the original Elementum. But yeah, the pivots, I gotta be honest, Civivi, the pivots on them, I have had no issues with any Civivi knives and the pivots that they have on them. So very happy with the pivots and with the Civivi knives. Let's do a size comparison. So we have the Ontario Rat II and the Benchmade Bug Out. So you can see that the Elementum, it is slightly smaller than these guys, but not that much. Basically the same size as the Ontario Rat II. And in terms of larger knives, I have the Sencut Saxy and the Civivi Cogent. And you can see they got some length on this knife. So it is, you know, it's a medium-sized knife. But I find that this size for me is really good. I like that size. Fits, you know, great in the hand and in the pocket. So sharp. It came sharp out of the box, and I've used this to break down boxes, actually to cut these bad boys, these zip ties, cut them off of some of the packages for my grandkids, and cut through no problem through the paracord. Well, kind of paracord. It cuts through that without too much effort at all, and through this twine. Yeah, it cuts through there pretty easy. So it does come with a nice sharp edge. Cutting through boxes, it cut down boxes very easily. No problems there. So yeah, the edge on it is good. And what I like about the Elementum, some people argue that the Elementum is probably one of the best EDCs that you can get, you know, for the money and that. I don't know if it is or not. It all depends on what you like in an EDC, but I will admit that it is a great EDC. I have no problem using this as an everyday carry knife. It does all the jobs that I need it to do, and it's a good solid knife. Civivi does nice fit and finish on their knives. You know, everything, edges are all smooth. You got good grip. Pivots work great. Button lock works great. You don't have to, you know, press ridiculously hard to get it unlock. And so yeah, and the aesthetics of it, you know, it doesn't have a wow factor to it necessarily. So not lots of wow factor, or, you know, I mean, it's a pretty basic design to it, but it works. And one of the nice things, like I've used this in crowds, not crowds, but, you know, where some people are gathered and stuff like that. And it's a very non-intimidating knife. The look of it, you know, nobody's freaked out by it and that. So, you know, aesthetically, it's a decent knife, but very generic pattern to it. But it's fine. Ergonomically, it works well. Grip, you get good grip on it. You can choke up, you know, using the jimping and this choil area. So you get a good grip on it. Easy to control. If you're slicing tomatoes or things like that at your campsite, it works well for that. The pivot on it, very smooth. Very happy with the pivot. I'm liking that. I already mentioned I'm a big fan of the button locks. For me, button locks work the easiest, those in the axis locks, but I find the button locks, if they're set up properly, they're the easiest for me. to work with, and so I like the button locks. And this has a spring underneath it that adjusts it. So yeah, it's set up well. It works well. You got decent grip. Doesn't slip in your hand. It's in there nice and solid, so you don't have to worry about your grip. And you can get this with micarta as well as the G10 handles. One of the things that also made me happy is Civivi. Yes, if I can get it on my camera. Look at that. Oops, you could see it for a second there. I'll get my hand behind it. They made the pocket clip flush. Yes, look at that. One of my biggest peeves is that the pocket clip sticks up back here where they attach it, and so that is extra wear and tear on your pocket. But Civivi, they made it flush. Good job, guys. And it fits in the pocket really well. You know, the slim design and the smaller flipper tab makes it fit really well in the pocket. As far as complaints about the knife, I don't really have any complaints about the knife. Yeah, it works. It does the job that it's supposed to do, and yeah, very functional knife. So no complaints about it. And except, you know, maybe I'd like to see it cheaper, but even that, it works well. It's a great EDC. I'd highly recommend this if you're looking for an everyday carry. The original Elementum, the button lock Elementum, they do have a slightly larger Elementum for people that want slightly larger. As you can see, I have a medium-sized hand, so there's not a lot of room back here for a big hand. So this is, you know, small to medium hands, so guys with a big hand might want to go for the bigger Elementum knife. But yeah, they're great little knives that do the job, seem to be holding up very well, and I got no complaints about them. So check out, if you're looking for an everyday carry and you're not thinking you need something extremely fancy, you just want something that works and does the job, check out the Elementums. Great little knives. I gotta quit saying little. Great knives. They do the job that you'll need them to do, and I'm sure you'll be happy with them. So yes, check out Civivi, and Civivi has a whole other line of knives as well besides the Elementum. So check out those. And that'll be it for this review. Hit the like, hit subscribe, leave me a comment. I will get back to you, and we'll do this all again with another knife. But until then, you stay safe and stay sharp.